And we should be live. Relatively speaking.
Well, we can be relatively alive then. You're still eating chips, aren't you?
Actually, I was muted. How are you doing, Whiskey? I was like, how are you doing tonight, Whiskey? And then I waited and you're like, how? You're still eating chips, aren't you? I'm like, son of a bitch.
Well, we're off to a great start. I've had a great night. Pre-show banter was fun.
Yeah, it's definitely the uptick of my night, considering the hardware problems.
Well, at least you haven't made your computer depressed and suicidal.
Yeah, I managed to stop that. It's just made me depressed and suicidal. So,
And there goes OBS. It's decided to crash.
oh, at least I'm not the
Well,
only one.
fuck you too, OBS.
Uh, I need to take this watch together room we have here before we start too far. Exit out. I need to put it into. Now there's like 3 people. No, stop it.
I'm
Okay.
confused. OBS just refuses to fucking function. Well, I guess you're the only one recording tonight.
Okay. Well, you want me to give you like 2 minutes of the workout real quick?
I'm just gonna keep trying while you goes because I don't stream. I just record it anyway.
Okay. Well, I didn't change the title, so I'm gonna do that real quick because I am a great streamer. Let's get all of that up. Got 9. Let's see. We got Blizzard back in the news again.
Oh, so they've managed to screw something else up. I see.
Um, fuck. I completely blanked on all of the other topics because I'm great. Oh yeah, GW being out of touch. Yeah, this is a lot of dead air. I could probably do better with this. Oh yeah, and denovo. Okay, we're good. We're good. So, we've got fun things like Blizzard being in the news again to get back on track and not dead air fire show. Blizzard's on back in the news with a fun thing they've done before called the Community Council. Because, things done by council are always historically great things that never fail.
And while we stick on video game failures, looks like Endwalker was delayed.
Well, it's not really a failure, but yeah, they had to push
Hey,
it
any
back.
delay is a failure.
Well, I love to call it that.
You
Simply because.
failed to deliver on time.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's a failure. I don't really consider like a failure, just a
Well, I mean, it's
setback.
not a critical failure or anything. It's
I mean,
It's kind of like walking out of the restroom and realizing your flies down failure. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's just it's not a good look. Makes you look kind of silly.
well, we'll get into it. And EA had their good shot at failures with saying that NFTs might be the future of the industry, which will be a fun topic.
I don't. You know what? Just because EA is saying it might be the future, I can almost certainly assume I'm going to be on the opposite side of that argument.
And then we have a good bit of out of touch marketing from GW. Oh, I'll save the specifics on that one because that was a when you see it, I'll let it speak for itself. I don't think anything can really say out of touch more than what I'll show you on that front. Even Blizzard is more in tune with their player base than GW is with theirs.
I don't know. I don't know. I would like to point to YouTube removing the dislike button as being more out of touch.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too, because that struck just today too. I mean, honestly, we can just go ahead and go into that now, because you don't really need an article for it, and we can just pontificate about it for a little bit.
I mean, we all know why they're doing it. Content they want to promote or that they've been paid a lot of money by large companies to promote keeps getting downvoted. And they need to stop that.
And I mean, there's a lot of reasons really, because as they move YouTube towards more of a commercial place rather than like a personal place, you don't like when you go and watch cable, you don't have a thumbs up, thumbs down button, right?
You fucking should.
Right, but that's the thing though, you don't get to see that. The people, like, what was unique about YouTube and the internet as a whole, until we're getting into this new dark age era, was that you basically got to see the back end. Like,
yeah,
up until a while ago, I mean, up until very recently, only the people at like the station saw the ratings and shit like that, and you would find out like months later. So like by the time your favorite show is canceled, you're just hearing about the decision that was already made. Whereas like you can see in real time with
like,
YouTube.
oh, although I like this, pretty much
popular.
everyone else doesn't, so it ain't gonna stick
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, or conversely, you can see what the public opinion on someone publicly speaking is, rather on cable and not being able to do that. And they don't want that because these are all dinosaur companies coming over from cable, and they don't care about interaction, quote unquote. They only care about the eyeballs. Because otherwise everything else just makes it more difficult for them. And if you don't believe me on that, you can go look at every comment section of every news site on the internet.
Yeah, overall, YouTube just wants to be the new cable company at this point. They don't really want, independent creators doing cool independent things anymore or edgy independent things. They just want big money to pay them big money.
And what's funny is they spent all this time spitting on YouTube and making fun of YouTube and literally backbiting them and delegitimizing them. But all YouTube wants to do is be with a popular girl in the room. It's like
well, you see, they're like the old rich guys, and YouTube is like the young stupid girl with a rich uncle called Alphabet. And she wants to date the rich people before they die and like take their money.
It's true. It's a very good way to look at it, yeah.
Yeah. Um, because that's pretty much what's happening to most of these cable channels. Their ratings are just in the gutter. And they realized, oh, when we upload stuff to YouTube, it gets more views because younger generations aren't even watching TV anymore.
Hell, the younger generation is helping pull the older generation away from it too.
Yeah, I've converted a lot of old folks out here to just using like Roku and internet streaming.
Yeah, well, I was actually in a restaurant. I went to a restaurant for breakfast the other day that we haven't been to in a while. And we sat next to a couple from New Jersey. They were old, and they were telling me, yeah, cable. They were like, yeah, up north, they like gouge you for cable. They want you to pay like $200+ for cable. We come down here, and our kids taught us about like YouTube and all these other free places you can watch TV on. So we just canceled our cable subscription.
Oh yeah, I was canceling it for my grandma because she had a package that was like $150 a month because she had to get that to get the two channels she wanted to watch. And as it turns out, that stuff you could just get through a Roku box. So I got Roku and I called to cancel for her. And, she has to verify her information to the person on the phone and then hand it back to me. And they're like, oh, so why are you canceling? And I'm like, because Roku's free. And they're like, oh, hang on a second. And suddenly that $150 a month, they're like, oh yeah, for the next 2 years, we'll give you what you've got plus these movie channels for $20 a month.
No.
Yeah, that was my answer. I'm like, no, we're still switching. Bye.
What part about free did you not understand?
Yeah.
I mean, I realize that they're supposed to say that. Like, they basically have a manager.
Yeah, if they don't say it, they're basically fired, but
Yeah, you have a manager that metaphorically has a gun pointing to the back of your head. But it's like, it's like someone being like, oh man, I've been having to like carry you uphill the entire time. Think I'm gonna let you go. And it's like, but wait, if you don't let me go, I'll walk some of the way if you pay me $20.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm just gonna let you go now.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like after I said no, we're still gonna switch, the lady on the phone is like, well, you know, we know you're kind of rural there. It's like, streaming's not always reliable.
Oh wow,
And
yeah.
my answer was, look, I'm a network technician. We have high speed internet, and I manage a commercial internet line here. Yeah, it's stable.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. It's like, hey, I would like it. Like, if you want to come down here and you want to lay some good internet cable down here, I'll pay you for that. But otherwise, you can go fuck
Pretty much.
Like, what kind of bullshit is that? Well, I know you live in a rural area. Maybe you want to stick with us because the internet connection's not good. Maybe you want to come down here and provide me fucking internet service instead.
I mean, you know what? She would have been right like a month before that, before I got Starlink.
It just
so
yeah, you gotta love how they're slowly losing grip. But the only bad thing about that is, as they lose grip, companies like Google, they just get their their grip.
There's
tightens.
a power vacuum, and someone's gonna take it. I just kind of wish for once it would remain decentralized. But that's why if I like something I see, I just buy the Blu-ray and then I have it forever.
Yeah.
Because screw paying for the same thing over and over. You're not getting my money multiple times.
Yeah. I've paid way too much money for things over and over again. Now, like that's one other reason why I won't buy movies from like Amazon and shit like that, because if I did, I would rent them and not buy them.
Well, or you end up with the problem of, oh yeah, Amazon's licensing of that is no longer valid, so you can't have it anymore either.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like that can happen. I don't know Amazon's contract, but that's totally possible to happen on a lot of these digital sites that you buy digital movies or games from.
Yeah, they actually said there's a court case to happen not too long ago. I think it's like either Google or Amazon banned her or something. I can't remember exactly. But basically, she was arguing that she get to, since she bought the movies on Amazon service, that she got to keep them. And Amazon actually, I think, won because their service says that you only get to license it for as long as Amazon wants you to.
Yeah, see, I don't want to buy a license. I want to own the content permanently. So everything I either get on Blu-ray or like my games, I almost exclusively buy from Good Old Games at this point, so that I can have a backup permanently. And yeah, even my Blu-rays I digitally rip so I can put on my home theater box.
Yeah, and and these are the same companies that complain about a certain part of the internet that raises flags and sails the high seas.
Yeah, see, and I'm someone who has to use some of those same methods on products I bought so that I own them forever.
Yeah, because I mean, the company sure as fuck isn't gonna help you do it, right?
Yeah. Like, in fact, Linus was complaining about this on his channel for a particular program he owned. And they went to a subscription model, but he owned a lifetime license for it. And the program constantly nags him to upgrade to the subscription version. And only after bitching enough on social media did they take him off the list, after a whole bunch of other bullshit where they're like, oh yeah, just go to this option and it'll turn it off, which you pointed out, yeah, that's only in the new version that is a subscription. And what's worse is they turned it off for him and put him on the special
But
list, and he
nobody else.
pointed out, what?
And nobody else.
Yeah, and he pointed out that that's bullshit. He only got special treatment because he's so well known. He's like, no, you need to make that available to everyone.
Yeah, it's just like Adobe, right? With Photoshop. It's like, oh, I want you to pay a subscription for it. It's like, fuck off.
And my answer to that is no. However, if you add enough reasonable features to it, I'll pay for a new upgraded copy.
Yeah, and even then, but they're just gonna charge you like $800 for it.
Yeah, that's why I still use CS3.
Yeah, it's just because that's the alternative, right? For Adobe, is like, okay, well, but like in a way, the subscription fee for Adobe in Adobe relative terms is actually kind of a steal, right? Because you can pay 1 month and you probably, if you're a savvy type of person, you're probably going to pay less for the subscription over time than you would for an actual full copy of Photoshop, but you don't own it.
Yeah. There was actually a really good, and I wish I could remember it offhand right now, but there was a really good alternative to the entire Adobe suite. And each program was being sold for like 50 or $100, and it's almost a complete drop-in replacement for like Photoshop, After Effects. I wish I could remember what that program was now, because it was really good. I was actually thinking about buying it. It was that good, because there's not any I haven't found good open source or free alternatives to a lot of the Photoshop stuff. So
The
and
closest thing. Oh,
I
sorry.
know someone's going to be like, well, you can use GIMP, to which I say, and the workflow is so different, I'm not relearning everything.
Yeah, I was about to say the only thing I've found to be even remotely close is GIMP, and GIMP is still kind of weird.
GIMP.
They certainly named the program right.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
But you know, it's just the way of the world now. You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah, I do not like the subscription model for everything.
You see, there's like a virtual service that's been advertised a lot for like virtual 30 series cards.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's ads going around where they basically cloud, like you know, you pay a company to have them like you connect to the cloud and they have a gaming computer stream you the stuff as you play the game, basically like Stadia. But you know, only it works.
Hey, that's a big difference.
Well, that's the thing. Is like the thing Stadia was isn't even unique because even before Stadia was out, they had really, I wouldn't say famous, but I remember watching Bellier videos and he had an ad for like a for basically that. Like you go log on to the service and then there's a data center that basically streams you the damn game, and you know there's only a small little bit of input lag. You just have to have the game or whatever. And it was better than Stadia.
Okay, this might be what I was thinking of. Um, it's a company called Affinity, and I think it's just a replacement to Photoshop, one of the other art programs. I'm not sure which one. Um, and then Publisher, which is like a publishing app, kind of the way what do you call it? The Acrobat Reader used to be,
Oh, I
but
still
like
have
full
Acrobat.
version. But yeah, I was looking at their Photoshop replacement. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, I just wish a lot of corporations would move in this way, even though they're going to. Because there's just too much more money to be made on a subscription model, and being super predatory about it, and being like, oh, well, the idea is to trick someone into like lapsing even a month on it. So that they pay us $20 or whatever without really meaning to.
Yeah. And I don't mind software if, like, let's say the upfront cost is whatever it is, and then after the first few years, if it's a like yearly subscription, if you want continued support, I'm okay with that. But if I don't want your support, just leave me alone. Because I know there's a few companies that do that, where if you buy their product for like the first 1 or 2 years, you get free support and updates. But afterwards, you have to pay for updates or support.
Another thing I dislike is whenever you're on a subscription service, right, and you go to turn off something like auto renewal because you're trying to be like, you know, conscious.
It keeps harassing you about it afterwards.
Yeah, and it's like it makes you jump through like 8 hoops where it's like, do you really want to cancel? Do you really, really want to cancel? Do you really want to cancel? You're gonna miss out all these features. Do you
Hang
really
on,
want to
hang on. We'll let you have it for a couple months for like 75% off.
Yeah.
Which I kind of wonder if you could just do that every time it was coming up.
Just, man, I hate that shit from companies. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't want to turn on auto renewal.
Yeah, and I mean, for some things, subscriptions do make sense, but a lot of things it just doesn't. It's just a way to take more money from the same group of people.
You mean whiskey? You don't want like a milk subscription? You know, you don't want to buy
Why
individual
milk when I could get the cow for free?
because the cow isn't free. It has a higher subscription.
Damn it! It's
We've
called
DR
alimony, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we've DRM'd the cow.
Oh shit! No, no, soon the cows are going to be like those sheep we saw.
Well, I have heard crazy. Well, I say crazy with quotes around it, where people have been pointing out lately the amount of like lands that farmland specifically that like a lot of the top billionaires in America own,
Yeah.
and it's not a small amount, and it kind of makes me think. Like there's a conspiracy around where it's like, you know, they're gonna try and control the food. Well, like half of it's like they control the food, and the other half is like population control.
Well, I mean, even if you were a billionaire that didn't care about population control or controlling the food supply, just, you know, food's a pretty damn good investment because people will always need it.
Yeah, and it's also like another one is like them just trying to procure land for when the country collapses, which is looking kind of like a good investment too.
There's actually land like 30 minutes from me that's basically in the middle of nowhere with no utilities, but you can get like 45 acres for something like 10 grand.
That's so good.
Yeah, I've looked at that and gone, huh, that's really tempting. But on the other hand, couldn't even really live there
Yeah, because if you
because
did
there's
it,
no water or anything there.
even then, like if you did decide to build there right now in this economy, you'd be gouged out the ass.
Well, I mean, depends on what you build with, I guess.
Even then, like
Like,
all
you could build a negative house, like your
uh,
negative walls in video games.
yeah, that's I mean like one that's actually gonna be up to standards. You know, one's gonna have like a floor. I can't game in a whole whiskey.
I didn't mean leave it dirt like that, like those people on YouTube that do like the elaborate sand pools.
That would be cool. Like buy out 45 acres of fucking desert and then make a fucking pueblo. It's my gamer home. I've always wanted it.
No, there is other low cost methods of making a home, and technically doing it underground could save quite a bit on a foundation.
Just remember to dust your doorways with cinnamon to keep fucking scorpions out.
Nah, that's what the chemicals from the exterminator are for.
I can't use chemicals in the Pueblo whiskey. It breaks down the mud.
Using the wrong kind of mud. Like, if the chemicals are breaking it down, then so is the water. You've done something horribly wrong.
It's not a great Pueblo, okay. But
I mean, I'm close enough to Mexico. Maybe the ground here could be used like for clay. I'd have to research that.
look, your ancestors did it. I'm sure you can do it.
Ancestors. Fuck. My ancestors came over from like England. No, they didn't.
That's not what the pictures in the history books I saw showed.
I'm kind of curious as to what history books those were.
Um, well, they were like public school history books. They were probably way out of date. And it showed like white conquistadors building pueblos with like red-faced Indians. I'm not even lying.
I know. I know.
Like, oh yeah, you know, the conquistadors totally stopped by and like built pueblos with people instead of, you know, viciously murdering them whenever they met them. That's yeah, obviously.
Yeah, why are people only mad at America for fighting with Indians when everyone else did it too?
Like Ponce de Leon, right? Everyone's like, oh my god, Ponce de Leon, the Fountain of Youth. It's like, you know how many people he murdered to get there? Like, he was useful because he bathed in his opponent's blood. That was the Fountain of Youth. You learned it at the end of the journey. The real Fountain of Youth was all the blood we had made on the way. I kind of now want to like make an anime that is literally Ponce de Leon's trek to get the Fountain of Youth, and he learns that it's actually just some like fairy teaching him to butcher everybody, and that the Fountain of Youth is actually a euphemism for the wellspring of blood when someone gets cut in half.
I vaguely remember watching an anime like that had something to do with kung fu and like the Fountain of Youth being guarded from evildoers.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. You don't want evil people being young, right?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the evil guys won, and that's like what started it. I don't even remember what the hell this anime was or where I saw it. It was a while back now.
See, what you should have done is
For
just
all
swap
I know, it
bodies.
was a plot line in JoJo.
You should have just swapped bodies with the guy and killed yourself. It's such a stupid power. Uh,
Well, instead of swapping bodies, why don't we swap into our first story?
that was a good preamble, though.
Yeah, we've only been at the preamble for an hour.
Oh, it says 32 on mine, so.
You and your damn daylight savings time.
Um, let's see. First cup. Let's see. What one do I want to start with?
If I had darts, I'd throw one at your list. And then regret it because your list is on my monitor.
Okay, let's just go at the Warcraft stuff. Because that's going to take the longest. We'll hit our good topic real hard. You know, we'll hit it like a caveman. And then, you know.
Hit it like Cosby. Hit it.
And I guess drop it like it's hot. Whatever the cool kids say these days. I'm not in with the cool crowd.
I'm pretty sure they drop it like it's cold now.
Yeah. Okay. World of Warcraft is forming a player-led community council.
Because solve their problems.
This is good. This has a link to the video. You just watch it right here. Well, I guess we could probably do it. I don't know how good it'll be. But
look, we can watch that video wherever you want.
Let's see how well it'll do here. Yeah, it's a little laggy, but it'll be fine. I mean, it's mainly the audio. Like, I've seen this video before. It's mainly the audio. It's important. And, oh boy. So we're going to watch it real quick. And then we're going to comment over it.
I'm Morgan, and I'm a lead game designer for World of Warcraft.
And I take it
I'm
you
Sarah,
can't
and I'm a
hear
senior
me.
level designer.
I'm Ian, game director for WoW.
I'm Tina, and I'm a lead environment artist.
I'm Pat, the production director for WoW.
And I'm Holly, the lead producer of WoW Classic.
We get a lot.
And it fucked up. What are you doing?
Yeah, I couldn't hear any of it anyway.
That's so broke.
Let's throw it into watch together.
This is so yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. Do I have the watch together tab open? Yeah, here we go. Wait here. With internet, internet historian. It's so broke. I think the actual YouTube video is just jank as hell too.
That could cause it.
Okay, we can pause it then and talk over here.
I'm Morgan, and I'm a lead game designer for World of Warcraft.
Unnecessary information. Hurry up.
I'm Sarah, and I'm a senior
How
level
is it
designer.
unnecessary?
See above. Well, the way I figure it, we only want to know about the community council. We don't need to know who the hell they are.
They are on
They're
the
from
community.
Blizzard.
They're from the community. They're gonna be the part of the community council, though.
Then how is it community council if they're not part of the community? They're part of the. They're the man.
Because okay, this is the way they're gonna do it, right? They're gonna create. They're gonna pick a
Sorry,
bunch of.
I'm ruining this, aren't I?
They're gonna pick a bunch of people who are gonna act as kind of as like community managers, right? But Blizzard is gonna be that shadowy, like kind of like a dreadlord.
No, I will equate it to your Naifu.
Well, the Naifu was cute. Blizzard's not. Also,
Yeah,
Naifu never raped anybody.
Look, if you gave her half a chance, she probably would.
No, she was a
been
good girl.
Stuck in enough people.
Yeah, that was all consensual. That was between two adults. I agreed upon it. But
my point is, they're the devil on your shoulder, constantly whispering "do bad things," or we'll kick you off the council.
yeah, so it's like and besides, Blizzard has to take in the feedback, right? So their development team is going. They are by default always going to be part of the community council because the feedback is going to go to them.
I think the community council should be from an independent organization.
Yeah, they're just a part of the community. They're the end point, rather than the one that actually gives feedback. Generally.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being unreasonable.
Ian, game director for WoW.
I'm Tina, and I'm a lead environment artist.
I'm Pat, the production director for WoW.
And I'm Holly, the lead producer of WoW Classic.
We get a lot
I
of
can
feedback
already
from
tell I
players, and
was
it's
in
great.
trouble.
We watch and read as much feedback as we can.
Players telling us
I
how they
bet
feel
you
about the
do.
game leads directly to
Why do I
improvements
have
that
a
we make.
feeling that all these
It's a lot
people
of
are not
feedback.
smiling
Which is
because they
awesome.
want to?
But we really want to zero in on the most nuanced player comments and have conversations with you about.
She's reading a script.
So they said the most nuanced comments because does that include the ones that were very long, detailed, and not directly attacking Blizzard but critical of mechanics that get deleted from the forums?
Yeah.
Specific issues.
And it's challenging.
I.e., we want to focus on things like when you tell us we're racist and stuff like that, we want to give like night elves another skin color so we can keep everybody in. Or we can make gay aliens that also worship a loon that aren't night elves because we're super inclusive. We want to fix our game.
I think every mechanic they've added that's effectively been made meaningless by later expansions, they should be forced to replace it with a synergistic mechanic.
I'm not gonna lie, if I was a developer of Warcraft, my room would not look this bad.
I mean, let's be honest. How do we know that's really his room?
I mean, because he's boring. He looks boring, and that matches his personality.
I mean, it could look. You'd be surprised what a good stage designer can do.
Yeah, a good stage designer. He's not a stage designer.
I didn't say he did it, Dros.
Yeah, well, that's obvious because it's not good.
Have a conversation with tens of thousands of people.
So we're kicking off something new, and we're calling it the WoW Community Council.
Listen to that
We're going to
mic.
invite at least 100 players to a new discussion.
How is it?
That's the
How
lead.
is it that you guys should, in theory, be making quite a bit of money doing this, right?
Yeah.
And you knew way in advance you're going to make this video. Why do you have a shitty mic? And why did QA let that slide?
Because they fired all the QA.
Fair
long ago.
point.
They do the QA. That's why it's so bad.
Yeah, that's the problem. QA kept telling them too many things were wrong and
Well,
contradicting their opinions. So they
Not
fired
only that, they were like, oh man, we need to save a bunch of money. And normally, the way you save money is you look at 2% of the budget and cut it off the top. Don't mind that other 98%.
Forum.
All WoW players will be able to see this new forum and everything we discussed there.
For the members, we're looking for players who are passionate about any area of the game.
Why do I think that, because they say you can view whatever's discussed there, why do I think whatever's discussed there is just going to be kind of mediocre BS that no one cares about?
No.
As opposed to actual problems.
Well, Preach did a good thought on it. He's like, well, if everyone can see it, then you're kind of fucked because you're supposed to have anonymity when you suggest stuff. Because let's say someone goes on there and gets picked on the team, right? And they go, actually, guys, I like the way WoW's going right now. Like, I only have an hour to play or whatever. So all of this, like, I log in, I get a powerful item for doing like one mythic from last week, and I'm happy, right? I feel like I'm progressing every week.
And what should happen is they should immediately go, oh, we're sorry, you're not our core demographic. You can't be on the council.
Well, remember, they just said for any kind of player. Let me go rewind that. Hold on.
No, I believe you, but here's the problem. You can't appeal to everyone. Appeal to your core audience and you'll do well. Stop appealing to them and you'll burn in flames.
I just want to go over this one more time, though. Because it comes from her mouth.
For the members, we're looking for players who are passionate about any area of the game.
About any area of the game. So if you log on, right, once a week, because you're let's say you work as an oil rig maintenance worker or some random ass fucking high stress job where you do long hours, right, and you get like maybe a couple hours a day to unwind, and you choose one of those days to play Warcraft, and that hour of Warcraft means a lot to you. That would mean that makes you passionate enough to go on the forums and talk about it and stuff. You could be elected as one of those council members.
Actually, I see something more insidious.
And then
so, she says passionate about any area, right?
Yeah, that's her exact words.
Technically, if they wanted, they could go back later and be like, well, we said any area. That would be like the zone you're in.
No, they're not going to do that. No, they're not that stupid. No, what they're going to do is going to be like, what would be more of a Blizzard move is if you're passionate about the game, like let's say you're passionate about removing sexual innuendos from the game. that would be a thing you would get on the community council for, right?
They
Because
should be required
you're-
to have someone who's passionate about the opposite of
'Cause
whatever
you-
someone else is on the council.
Because if you reframe it like this, well, I'm passionate about making WoW in a super duper inclusive place where no one gets their feeling hurt, then you're passionate about an area of the game, right? That's the insidious approach right there, where you can basically, as long as you can word it as long as you can use weasel words, you can get in anywhere. That's the insidious part. The other part is someone being innocent and actually like enjoying Warcraft in its current state because they either don't see like the long-term plan and the long-term harm this is actually doing to the game, right? Or they're just not they're like WoW is the only game they play, so they don't know anything different. And they go onto the forums, they post something like, I enjoy Warcraft, I don't know why anyone would hate it. And then they suddenly get attacked by all the people on the forums as to how could you not know, blah blah blah.
You know, that is an interesting problem that Warcraft actually has, is it does have people who have only played Warcraft.
Yeah,
They're not really a gamer, they just play Warcraft.
exactly.
And yeah, that can skew things pretty heavily.
That's a big thing about Warcraft, is that there are so many people, like I know like 40-year-old moms that were in guilds that would never play any other game. Like they view all other video games as like icky, right? But WoW is just that game they play. To them, it's no different than going online and playing fucking browser-based poker for like grannies. Yeah, I mean, that's a weird thing WoW does have going for it. And I would even say there's another way you can extrapolate it out. There's the WoW gamer, and then there's the Blizzard gamer. So,
And then there's just regular gamers.
well, what I mean by this is,
But
I'm not-
no, yeah, where there's people that are just general Blizzard fans and have pretty much just stuck to their games.
yeah, so they don't really travel outside them. They might go and play one or two games that really interest them, but they're just coming back to like StarCraft or Warcraft or whatever.
Well, my controversial opinion that will never be changed is that any story that was not in the original strategy games for Warcraft is not canon.
That's kind of another thing. That's another problem they have. Because I would actually be kind of interested to see, like, because one of the reasons I imagine they did this whole, like, Activision Blizzard merge was they wanted to try and funnel some of Warcraft's players into Activision's other games.
And it probably didn't work.
I make this assumption because they made like the Blizzard launcher and then they put Activision games in there. And the only reason I would think you would do that instead of just making it like an Activision launcher is you're trying to pull in from Blizzard's audience rather than the other way around.
Yeah, and somehow I think that didn't work out very well.
Yeah, because we were saying, you know, there's only Warcraft players. So I would be interested to see how much that actually paid off for Activision in the long run. And I'm kind of wondering if they're kind of feeling regretful about doing this in the long run. Because Warcraft's player base was kind of like poisoned well beyond them even acquiring them.
Yeah, but all of that poisoning and stuff is not something that executives would typically notice or be able to understand.
Well, even then, if you would have like when they acquired Blizzard was back in Cataclysm, I think, or was it Wrath of the Lich King? Either one of those. No one could have predicted that you couldn't funnel WoW players to any other game. Like, that's not a prediction you could have made.
Yeah, fair point. That was before trends were established.
Well, it's not even that. It's that back then, it was very, how do I want to put this? Like, it was like how gaming used to be, where people would rally around a studio, right? And so I guess Activision thought in their mind that because Call of Duty was good, and they could put Call of Duty in the same launcher as WoW, that you would have like just people funneling over from each one because they're both good games. Would be
And
the best.
it didn't work out. Like, I'm sure there was a little bit of funneling in either direction, but probably not a huge amount.
Yeah. And it's an interesting thing if you look back then and now and see how did acquiring Blizzard actually work out for Activision, because it doesn't look like it looks favorable, but it's ever more as the wheel turns, more like Blizzard is becoming a burden. Because WoW's still making in money, like it's still raking in fucking cash. It's still a golden goose.
Yeah, their problem is it's not as golden and it isn't laying as many golden eggs, and so the investors are getting pissed off.
Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe someone should have fucking talked to the investors and said, look, you're never going to have infinite returns.
Yeah, but as if I was an investor, I would be like, yeah, I'm not really expecting infinite returns, but I'm kind of expecting you not to piss in your player's mouth.
Let me rephrase that. Not infinite returns, but infinitely increasing returns, which is what most of these corporations are after.
Well, I mean, Warcraft still could do that if you were doing good each expansion, right? But the problem with Warcraft is it's not. Like, if you treated the players well, you focused on making good content, and you just...
Yeah, but what I mean is any game can only appeal to so many people.
Yeah, no, I mean, I realize...
and you can only take so much money from each of those people before they stop playing. So, theoretically, there is a maximum amount of profit any game could potentially ever make.
Yeah, and there's like a maximum amount of profit any corporation can realistically yield to.
Yeah, and if you're relatively close to what that line probably is, it's time to have a conversation with investors and go, look, we're at the pinnacle. Even if we manage to stay up here, you're just going to be getting dividends. You're not going to be getting exponential returns. The problem is they don't want to do it because then investors pull out.
But I feel like Warcraft could...
This is aside from Warcraft's other problems of quality.
Yeah, I feel like if Warcraft's quality was there, it would be a slow, steady climb up, right? It's not going to hit that ceiling fast. It's going to be the slow, steady creep like it's always been. Historically, I mean, Warcraft's jumped and spiked a few places, but Warcraft started humble and it built one brick at a time. Like even when it came out of Warcraft 3 with the RTS fame, that wasn't like a big hit, right? I mean, like it was, but it's not like it was GTA.
Yeah, GTA had, well, I would argue still has way more pull than
Oh, it does.
Warcraft 3.
Right,
or,
it's not
Warcraft in general.
Yeah, it's not the best-selling franchise in all of history. So it's like when they put out MMO, they still had to build they're just build past the goodwill they built up with Warcraft 3 and slowly build a user base. You started off with good numbers because of your previous stuff with Warcraft.
But yeah, I think the trouble really comes when you stop being a company of people that want to do cool shit that you're interested in to being a much larger corporation that wants to make as much money as it can while it can. There's a fundamental shift in focus that happens, and when it happens, you're going to start driving your games into the ground.
Okay, I'm gonna finish this out since we have a couple
Yeah.
sec.
We're going to invite raiders, PvPers,
Solo players, mythic dungeon lovers.
Transmog collectors, WoW classic enthusiasts.
Role players.
You know, those
achievement
people we
hunters,
didn't listen
and
to
more.
at
we
BlizzCon.
want to talk with every kind of WoW player.
And if they choose to, we'd like selected participants to join us in regular live chats.
So please follow the link to apply
Well,
for
we
the
wanna
WoW
try.
Community Council, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've
you.
just seen how this kind of thing has failed with other companies before, so I'm just expecting it to fail here. Even if they're totally being genuine and want to try this to actually improve, I don't see it working.
Yeah, it's having seen some of the people on the WoW team, it doesn't really give me a lot of faith that they would listen to anybody.
Well, they haven't listened to anyone in forever. Why would we assume they'd start now?
So yeah, you know, it's just one of those things where Blizzard's out of touch.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're just saying, no, really, we're gonna listen this time. Come back.
Don't cut us off. We need your money because we barely make enough money to live in California with the cost of living as is. We can't really afford the subs to drop.
Nah, baby, you know I didn't mean that shit I said last night. Come on back.
That was just a crack talking and the Cosby suite.
Nah, we gonna make it better. Then the next night, same damn thing.
Well, this time she has two guys. So, you know. That's Blizzard, man. I can't even be sad for it anymore. Like, all I want Warcraft to do now is die.
I'll be honest, because I never played WoW, but I kind of gave up on Blizzard with Warcraft 3. I mean, not Warcraft 3, Diablo 3.
Oh man, I still remember playing it and seeing Diablo and it has bitch tits.
Well, or the other thing you've mentioned, which I noticed too, it's like, yeah, I don't believe in demons. And it's like, bitch, they're right outside the town.
Yeah, I love that.
It's
yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, like, you don't get it. Like, I don't believe in demons. I literally just came from outside the town, like right outside, and there was like 5 demons waiting right there for me. And like, maybe you should try walking outside sometime. Like, my uncle left me a diary, and he talks about demons. He obviously was crazy. Yeah, your basement literally leads further down in the hell, but he was a crazy one.
Yeah.
Well, I just can't. And people are like, I don't
I
play.
miss Deckard Cain so much because of her. He was such a better character. Maybe it's some kind of metaphor about previous generations and newer ones being shit.
I remember beating it and being like, is that it?
Yes, because you're supposed to grind bosses over and over and then move to a higher difficulty to do it all again.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Which I did in the second game. just because I enjoyed doing grinding with a group of people. But I just couldn't with the third. And I could go on with a lot of its problems. I'll just end it there.
Oh man, like the money auction house, real money auction house.
That part didn't actually bother me as much. What did bother me is stuff like the enemies not being very readable like they were in previous games, and also basically just being cannon fodder for the most part.
I tried to find it apparently after the community council announcement came through. There was like some WoW devs on Twitter talking shit to players, saying they were part of the problem and stuff like that. I couldn't get the exact. I couldn't find. I saw a tweet and it was deleted and no one archived it, so I can't verify what it said.
Assuming that's true, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're openly hostile to your customers, something's gone wrong and you need to rethink what you're doing.
Oh, they are, and that's a fun thing too, is that they're openly hostile to their player base, but they're gonna open up a community council where they're totally gonna listen to you guys this time. Just come on, baby, tell me this time we're gonna make it work. God, it feels like Squidbillies. You know, you see that puddle over there? Yeah, that was your last divorce. That was me, always saying, oh, the one the one where you say you do anything to make it work. Yeah, that was me, making sure the cocaine was always around. Yeah, just it's what it feels like with Blizzard, that they're just like this super abusive partner. It feels like the exact thing with like Bungie and Destiny, and someone pointed this out a couple of days ago on a thing I was watching, where like everyone wanted to say that like people, if anything, this is exonerated Activision, right? Because everyone wants to paint Activision as the big bad guy, but both Blizzard and Bungie have actively fucked up their game development process and blamed it on Activision, basically vicariously, right? And then
what's worse is Activision isn't even that great of a publisher. It's got problems.
Yeah, and Bungie lets loose from Activision and they don't change at all.
Yeah,
they actually get worse. So it's like people are like, oh man, if Blizzard was just free of Activision, it's like Blizzard was free of Activision, you would see WoW get even worse. And they would try to justify it by them being cut loose from their publisher, and they totally need money now, guys.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up world, man. That's just depressing, I guess. Let's see what some of these comments say real quick. Yeah, we've taken on board all of your feedback and decided you actually want more store mounts. We're going to invite 100 influencers whose opinions don't represent the actual player base. We picked 100 people who agree with us to represent you. Yeah, so not...
Yeah, that's probably the most accurate one.
I look at the good thing they're turning off dislikes. Damn, not in time. You guys should have waited on this. You should have waited like 5 days.
That pisses me off so much they're deleting dislikes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what we got here. Alright, let's move on to another video game thing. This is kind of like outside my purview, but I thought.
Oh yeah, I saw this, and it's such a bad take.
Yeah, you can only fix the optical drive, right? So the Librarian of Congress has provided a new exemption to the DMCA to let people repair optical drives on video game consoles. The rule also allows users to perform diagnosis, maintenance, and repair of other types of software-enabled devices marketed to consumers. So what do you think makes this a bad take? Because you probably know more about this than I do.
Well, at least from my understanding, it still excludes most other parts of the console,
Oh yeah.
which is stupid. It's like saying, well, okay, you can fix your tires on the car, but don't you
Touch it.
fucking dare touch the radiator. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, I'm glad they've at least said, yes, you can do this, but it's like a half measure. I'm really, really hoping the day comes soon where more technologically knowledgeable people end up in Congress. Or at least people that grew up with these kind of problems and are like, yeah, no, fuck you. Where it's perfectly fine to fix it. Because the real problem is these legislators don't actually understand any of the problems.
Yeah, I've kind of watched Louis Rossman's videos, and he said that a lot of like the congressmen are like, "Oh, no one brings this up to me, so I don't know." But it's at the same time, I kind of feel like congressmen should know basic things about the actual political environment they're in, or just like I don't know. I feel like as a congressman, you should be putting your finger on the pulse of people, trying to find the next big issue that's really a thorn in the side of American people. I know that's not really what congressmen do anymore, but it's
Well, I mean, or at the very least, when a problem is brought to you, try to understand it in its entirety, not just from the perspective of the large company.
or
Like,
whoever's just telling you it's good.
if someone comes up to you and says, look, I can fix any part on my car, all I have to do is buy a replacement part. Why can't I do that with this? And it's a completely reasonable argument. But unfortunately, the larger companies try to take it a different route with their claims.
Yeah.
And then you end up arguing bullshit claims instead of the actual point. And like I said, they don't really understand technology that much because of the age of a lot of these senators and legislators. And you almost can't expect them to know every little detail and minutia of every damn thing. Like, that's ridiculous. But they really should find people that actually know what the hell is going on. They should seek it out themselves, not just sit around on their hands hoping someone will bring them the correct information.
This is Dross's obligatory call for abolishing of copyright law.
See, I personally, I think it should just be a 10-year copyright, because then you get to make money off of it, of something you've invented without someone like just stealing your idea, who has more money, like say Walmart steals your idea. But after that 10 years, then anyone can use it, which I believe it's something similar to that with the medical industry when it comes to like prescription drugs, where the time you can have a patent on it is much shorter.
You can always do a cumulative upkeep type thing too, where it's
What
like
do you mean?
where like every certain amount of years you have to pay ever increasing amount of money to the point where
No, because you're gonna get a company like Disney that'll just own everything and be able to pay it.
just make it exponential, like where I mean it's kind of like the thing with EA and the FIFA rights. even no matter how big a company is, there's gonna be a point where they just go, no, it's just not enough. Like, their greed at this point is so high that if you told a company, like, yeah, you're gonna need to pay like $2 billion to maintain all your copyrights, they'll be fine with it the first time, but then you tell them, like, yeah, now it's 10, now it's, now it's 30.
Yeah.
And you'll hit that magic number and they'll just let it go.
See,
But,
I can understand extensions under certain special circumstances. Like, let's say you come up with the copyright, but maybe you didn't actually bring it to market for a couple of years, and you could get like a couple year extension. But otherwise, I would say 10 years. If you just sat on it, that's your fault.
yeah.
And after that 10 years, anyone gets to do it. And that wouldn't just be copyright. That would be for trademarked characters and stuff. And I would do it retroactively. So, oh yeah, you patented that 20 years ago? Well, sucks to be you. It's free domain now. Because the whole point of copyright when it was made, and it was actually a lot more open as like 10 or 20 years when it was first created, was the idea that if you invented something, we want you to be able to like make money off of it and profit, to have the incentive to invent new stuff. But we want everyone to be able to use and benefit from it too. Which is an admirable goal. It's just been, well, it's been ruined mainly by Disney.
Well, snapping to another gaming related topic. So I want to get this out of the way too. EA feels that NFTs, which are those pictures you sell the rights to for money, and are defeated with a simple right click,
This must be that
are the future.
this must be part of that one video I saw on YouTube that says now they want you to play to earn.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen, like, if you look into what's currently offered for play to earn, it's just so stupid. It's such a big scam.
Yeah, like I said in one of our other streams, NFTs actually have a place. This is not it.
Also, I love how we're going into a crippling depression, right? Or, like, at best, we're going into like a crippling depression, and at worst, an entire collapse of not only the financial system.
You roboted there.
Oh, okay.
I heard crippling depression.
Yeah, at best, we're about to hit a crippling depression of global proportions, or at worst, we're gonna see the financial collapse of not only collapse of the financial system, but of like the global supply chain and everything. And EA's over here like, oh yeah, let's ramp up the demand for like graphics cards and shit like that and consoles.
Yeah,
Because that's what it's gonna
now,
do.
if they said you could actually earn Bitcoin by playing the game, then I'd be intrigued. But this is just their tokens related to like photos, I guess.
Yeah, but it's still gonna have it to where like you're gonna have that crazy sports fan or whatever is gonna buy like 20 fucking PlayStation 5s and is gonna be mining a coin that doesn't have any actual fucking currency. Like, and it doesn't have any actual currency.
If you devised some way that you could sell these NFTs to people that would actually buy them, I could understand getting involved.
Yeah, but they're gonna be tied up in every other corporation's like EA coin or whatever bullshit. Yeah, like Origin coin. I know how this is gonna work.
Dumb.
But you're still gonna have people to do it, and it's just like, it's so stupid. It's like, It's like my friend who was like, "Oh man, if this generation's doing good, I can't wait till the next generation." I'm like, dude, the majority of people can't even get their hands on the current generation that's out right now that we were teased about like 2 years ago, and you're talking about the next generation.
I mean, are you talking about specifically consoles or
Like
just in
console, yeah. I mean, obviously with PC we don't have generations, right?
Well, yeah. So the interesting thing about the shortage of consoles is, if I am not mistaken, both Microsoft and Sony have shipped more consoles than they did in the same time period for the last generation.
Yeah, but fewer people have gotten them.
Well, shipping that many actually implies more people have gotten them, because I don't think it's a small margin. I think it's like 20% or 25% more, um, which actually just points to a much higher demand than normal.
It's saying, yeah, 7.8 PS5s outselling the PS4.
And what did the PS4 sell in the same time frame?
It doesn't tell me. It says,
Huh.
but it says Sony managed to ship 4.5 million PS5 units. I mean, about 3.3 million units have been sold, which realistically is nothing when you consider how many people are actually gaming. Right, and that was
Well, yeah.
before the spike, right?
But my point was, they are shipping more than they did before. So not only do you have these supply constraints, you also have much higher demand than you did before. And I mean, when you lock people up for a year and they don't have money to spend on stuff except for luxuries, because you're paying them to stay home, and the only luxuries they can get are stuff like video games and electronics, it's no surprise that there's suddenly a massive demand.
Yeah, I still think like the majority of that shit scalped.
I don't think so.
Dude,
Because even if it were scalped, you would, if they were producing enough to meet demand, even if they were scalped, demand would be getting met because people would be buying them from the scalpers. I mean, it would be more expensive, but it would meet the demand. It's why Nvidia has announced that they're going to be cutting down their production of their cards. It's because they're worried that the mining bubble might pop, and they don't want a whole bunch of their cards to flood the market. I mean, I don't think they're correct with it popping yet, but point is, at least with consoles, they are supplying more demand than they did before. It's just the demand is that much higher this time around.
well, people need to stop, like, demanding.
And because of inflation, everyone has the money to throw around to try and get it.
It sucks so bad. Fuck you, Brian. I was about to say fuck you, Brandon, but just fuck you, Biden. And we'll have to code my message. I hope you eat a dick.
I like how entire industries of Let's Go Brandon gear have cropped up.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny. One of my sisters has a boyfriend named Brandon.
Let me see if I can't find the video here. Oh, thank you for showing me my own thumbnail, YouTube.
YouTube says, what are friends for?
Entire.
Oh, here we go. It's not long. I'm gonna clear these lists here. So this is when he had to actually delay it on the live stream because it was actually like tuned into the live stream and they're like, first thing, we gotta make a announcement regarding Endwalker. I could kind of tell when they said it like that, it's like it's getting delayed. I even had a thought, I like, it would be fucked up if it got delayed this late on. So
career that we had announced a release date and had to delay it. So again, I feel really bad about this. One moment.
少々お時間いただきます。
いや、皆さんがね、有給取ったりもうね、してくれてるのも分かってたんで。
But yeah, it wasn't a huge delay. It was like 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks
So-
isn't that big of a deal.
So it's
but it
But
always
you're-
sucks to meet a deadline you set.
yeah, he seemed to hit it pretty hard by missing it. So, but at the same,
I mean, you can imagine if you're working incredibly hard on something, especially to get it out on time, and then something comes up at the last minute that you're like, no, we can't release this. It'll be bad for us and the players if we do. Put it back in the oven. That can be a hard hit, especially if you've been doing like 80-hour work weeks of crunch time to try and get it out.
also add the fact that this was like the man that micromanaged the entire team to get 2.0 out of the door.
Yeah.
And 2.0 was a much worse situation. So for him to delay Endwalker at 14's like highest point probably hits him a little hard.
Especially when you're the one who's ultimately responsible for the whole thing.
But at the same time, the reason why he had to do it is he cited to get the game a little more stable, that to make sure that there wasn't any bottlenecks in the main story quest, since there's going to be so many more people this time around. Demand's going to be so much higher. You want to make sure that the stress testing is going through and make sure there's not going to be any problems. Because during Stormblood's launch, we actually had a whole 2 days. Was it 2 days? I can't remember if it was 2 days where we couldn't get past like one of the beginning Stormblood missions because the instant, like, you had to go fight someone very early on in the story, and it caused this huge bottleneck in the instant server because so many people were trying to access it at once. It basically DOS the instant server.
Wow.
That's actually one of the reasons why when you go to Shadowbringers, you actually get a split in the storyline. So they can split people off, so there's 2 different instance servers being hit. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But it was a nice little thing in contrast to see where Blizzard's like, they put out their newest patch and it's pretty much terrible. Everyone who's playing WoW is like, well, that was basically too little too late. You might as well not even bothered. And 14's like, oh, we're gonna delay our entire expansion 2 weeks to make sure it's the best for you.
And clearly are upset that they had to make that call.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's always with this development team is that it's just they actually care because they play the game, like they said. It's always nice to know that, rather than with like WoW. Like, you look at the lead producer, right? Going back here, right? This is the lead producer here, right? Like, you look at her And for me, I don't like she's not a person to me that inspires confidence.
No,
Like
she isn't.
she's the type of person that I feel like I want to look at her. I feel like she's a psychiatrist. Right? I feel like I'm going to say something to her and then she's going to either reparse it in her own worldview and then spit it back out at me in a really patronizing way, or she's just going to completely ignore it.
Yeah.
And I like, you have a Burning Crusade box over there, right? It's like, do you play the game?
And in all fairness, a lot of that impression is her expression and that green colored shirt she's wearing.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, and again, if I saw her playing Warcraft, it'd like kudos to me being wrong, right? But it's like at first glance, you're the lead producer of Warcraft. We got problems.
Yeah, it's like, so how much Warcraft do you actually play for entertainment a month? And how much of other games do you play for entertainment?
Yeah, like have you been doing any Mythic Key runs? If so, how high? What was the last highest Mythic Key run you did?
And it's not to be a dick, it's like, if you're in a design role, you should thoroughly understand games and enjoy them. If you can't enjoy the games yourself, you're the wrong person for the job, and you don't look the part.
Yeah, it's
And
I don't.
your reading doesn't sound like you give a shit since you're reading on a list.
Like
so it makes me question everything else.
Yeah, to be frank, you look like someone's mom.
I mean, she probably is.
Right? You look like the type of person that if I go over, like if when I was 10, I would go over to my friend's house and you would be just like watching Law and Order on the TV and you would have nothing of real value to say to me. Like, I don't, you don't inspire much confidence just looking at you. The fact I can tell you're reading off a script devalues everything you're saying, right? And the fact that I don't see you actually playing Warcraft, you don't tell me like, oh yeah, of course I go and play Warcraft, right? And then tell me what you're doing. The fact that none of this starts off with like, I love Warcraft, this is what I do in Warcraft, this is how I want to like, this is the type of player I want to elect to the council, right? It just, I don't know.
It comes off as very stiff and corporate.
Yeah.
As to where, to go back to our video of the delay of Final Fantasy, it's the exact opposite. It's very personal, and they're taking their work personally because they take pride in it.
Yeah, and just night and day again. Night and day.
Like, I can see Final Fantasy is a good game. I've enjoyed playing it. I'm not a super fan like some people are, but even I can see the sheer amount of work and dedication that's gone into building it. And you know, I respect the dedication and work that goes into it.
Yeah, it's just, I wish Blizzard would take a moment, step back, and reevaluate everything they've been doing for the last like 10 years. Because they should have done this a long time ago, but they really need to relook. They really need to like look inward and find a way to make Warcraft better rather than making Warcraft this seasonal expansion machine. Because that's the major problem. Like I've told you before, The problems literally start with Burning Crusade. They don't like people like to cite Burning Crusade as like this great expansion. I cite Burning Crusade as the one of the primary factors of what plagues Warcraft in the future. Like we're gonna have to go over to a whole new world. You have to forget the old
we're
world.
invalidating all your old content.
You're gonna add flying now, so everything's gonna feel smaller. You're gonna switch to hub questing, where everything is centered around like a settlement. You get 5 quests, you go out, do them, and bring them back, and then you move on to the next settlement. That started in Burning Crusade. Yeah, just you can tie so much of it. The shortening of the raid teams. Like in Burning Crusade, they completely retooled raiding to appeal to a completely different crowd. So all of this came from Burning Crusade in part, and it's just been getting worse and worse and worse as time goes on.
Kind of a lack of understanding of what made your original game good.
Yeah. So I'll flick through our next topics. Oh, I got this here. Speaking of out of touch, right? Speaking of out of touch. So, when you think 40K, right? First thing that comes to mind is fucking candles, right?
That would depend on which part of the Imperium you're in.
So,
Because I'm sure there's somewhere where if you don't put the right candle up on the windowsill on the right day, you're a heretic.
I like this. You have a Slanesh candle.
So it just smells like sex.
Like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's the scent of delusion. And here's the scent of a death world.
Why do I think these don't actually smell like what they claim to?
The scent of expansion. That just sounds like a sexual thing.
Damn it. I'm imagining the like people from England as England starts to expand, landing in a new place and going, you smell that? That's the scent of imperial expansionism.
Just
What?
Just so yeah.
This is almost as bad as the Razor Mask.
Yeah. The only way they could have made it worse is if they would have made an LED Space Marine helmet that was specifically for COVID-19.
What they need to do is they need to have the guy in the Razor Mask with these candles around him while he's wearing it, being like, I don't have to smell these things at all with this mask.
Just why would you do this? Who is gonna who do you buy these for?
As a side note, I did see a paintball mask that looks like a gas mask, but you can easily breathe through it, and I was kind of laughing, wondering if places that require a mask would let me in wearing that.
That they can't. Did you know in a bunch of states they had to drop the enhancements for crimes while wearing masks? It's like so they can't trump up charges because you were wearing a mask.
Well, I like when it first started, the mask requirements, and I went to the bank and they're like, "Oh, you have to wear a mask." I couldn't help myself in line. I'm like, a week ago, you would have tackled me for coming in here with a mask. I said it right to the guard.
Yeah, it's like COVID though.
And it's like you would have done it even if it were like a medical mask.
And okay, that was a good of a laugh. So let's see. Okay, another gaming thing.
Oh, we got a lot of gaming ones today.
Yeah. So everyone's favorite add-on to every game, denovo.
You know, I know it's not going to happen, but my hope is a lot of companies that use heavy-handed DRM will see this and go, you know what? Maybe we're making more pirates by, including this kind of thing. Maybe we should stop, but they're not going to. They're going to double down.
Well, I did see a thing where a bunch of companies have been noticing that like denovo doesn't actually help all that much, and that they're basically paying for a bloatware. So there is some hope that it just falls out of popularity. Right, because if again, it's one of those things I was telling with exponential like payments, is that at some point the greed goes, oh well, I'm paying a bunch of money and they're not really helping me all that much, so that tends to be the way things go. I've noticed. Like you can only like unlike people corporations aren't very fond of subscriptions.
Yeah. See, that's the thing a lot of these companies just don't realize, though, is when they screw with customers that actually paid money and make the pirated version look genuinely superior, they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Oh, come on, Whiskey. There's never been a case of pirated software being better than the original. That's
it's funnier coming from you.
yeah, I mean, pirated software is full of viruses and so hard to obtain. And I mean, by golly, it's from a untrusted
I mean, after all,
source.
Who in their right mind would install a VPN in order to not get caught and then run said files through Virus Total?
Yeah, and
or test them on a virtual machine to make sure they're safe first. Like no one can do that.
Yeah, so it broke. The denovo basically temporarily lapsed on its domain name or something like that. Yeah, denovo domain was unreachable. And so it caused a bunch of games to basically not be able to renew its denovo.
Well, it gets worse. They've only re-upped the registration for 1 year.
So we're gonna
if this is the story that I'm thinking it is, I might be thinking of an older copy protection story that was recent. So it might not have been denovo, but there was one where it's like, oh yeah, players just can't play this game anymore unless you pirated it because the domain name expired. And I think it actually might have been a different one now that I think about it, but it was an instance of, oh, it's only being renewed for a year. I hope you all finish any games related to this in a year.
Yeah. It's just kind of typical of the industry now. I mean...
go ahead.
It's just like Secure ROM and all the other shit where they don't care if it ends up breaking your game in the end.
I mean, this is why I said earlier I'd prefer to play stuff from good old games because I know it's going to be there for me forever. It can't be just taken away one day.
Can't blame that.
And if I'm going to buy something, I'd rather reward the behavior with my money that I like.
It just reminds me of the reviews I've been watching where they're like, I only bought this game after 60 hours of playing. I'm just like, wow.
I mean, I'll be honest, I've pirated movies just to find out if they were decent. That being said, if I liked them, I bought the damn Blu-ray. If they were crappy movies, then I'd just kind of forget they existed.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not very good to support Hollywood right now anyway.
I have, and I would say probably the last 5 or 6 years, I haven't really seen anything I cared about that was
Yeah.
coming out.
That's another thing too, because like what's funny is the other side of the coin is that you'll have Hollywood put out really terrible movies and things, and then they're like, oh, our sales are really bad. Obviously they're pirating it, and they get over there and they look, it's like, actually your stuff is the stuff people ignore.
It's like
They're
we've had like 100 downloads total from the pirate base,
Yeah.
sir.
They're actually downloading from your catalog from like 10, 20, 30 years ago. Not what you're doing now. And the only reason they're doing that is because you don't offer that type of stuff on your service willy-nilly.
Yeah. Well, or what irritates me is they'll offer it on a streaming service, but then you can only play that streaming service on specific devices.
Yeah.
Like you can play it on your phone, you could play it on your TV, and maybe your computer. Or it'll be TV, computer, phone, but like if you wanted it on a streaming device like a Roku or an Amazon, oh no, fuck you. You can't do that. Or if you're like me and you build your own damn home theater box. It's
Yeah.
like you can only enjoy this content in the way we want you to enjoy it.
It's a Betamax of our time.
No, because at least Betamax had slightly higher quality than VHS.
Well, technically digital copies have slightly higher quality. It's just, you know, the people you're getting it from.
Yeah. DRM bothers me. I really need to get around to making that video, which is geared towards explaining to companies why a lot of their approaches with DRM is dumb. That doesn't mean all approaches with it are necessarily dumb, but a lot of them are.
Yeah, just do what like the Serious Sam people did, where like if you pirate it or something, the fucking invisible demon comes after you and murder you.
Well, I mean, or be satisfied with like Steam.
Or
I mean, Steam is DRM. It's just it does it so well, no one cares. Well, I guess I shouldn't say it's exactly DRM. It's not technically, because it doesn't use any kind of encryption keys or anything, or some of the other crazy shit DRM does, but
I wonder if Caves of Quad is on sale right now.
apparently there's Discord ransomware going around.
Really?
Yeah.
No. I can buy it in a bundle for $50. I want to buy it.
But yeah, there's ways companies can discourage piracy, like what you said, of putting shit in the game that fucks with you if you pirated it.
Yeah, or just like, I mean, I know this is gonna be a revolutionary thought. Don't fucking worry about it.
There's that too.
Because ultimately, like people are gonna pay for something if they want to, right? Like the hardest lesson a lot of companies need to learn is if you have something that's good, people will pay you from it for it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's some hard and fast rules you go by. Like if you put out a game like let's say you put out an MMO and you just use a pay what you want system, your MMO is probably gonna tank pretty quickly. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right. But if you set a reasonable price that's pretty good for the industry and you give like a pretty generous free trial or something like that, people flock to it and they'll sit there and put 60 hours in your game and they'll be like, you know what, that's fine, I like this game, I want to stick around, I'll pay you money for it.
Well, companies also ignore the fact there's different kinds of pirates
Yeah.
and different forms of piracy. So there's a few different categories I kind of put stuff in. So one would be your
Try before you
pirate
buy.
the try before you buy. They actually aren't really losing you sales. They just want to know if your product is something they're interested in, and you haven't done a good enough job of showing them whether they would be or not. You could literally stop a lot of that kind of piracy by just having decent demos of stuff.
Which is happening a lot nowadays, yeah.
Well, it's happening more. It just depends on what company. I mean, I get how that could be difficult to do with a movie, but I'm mostly talking about games. You've got the other kind of pirate that is worried your DRM solution or your online store or something might take away their ability to play it, which we've seen happen to certain games. Sometimes only 4 or 5 years after it's, been out because it's not relevant anymore.
Hell, I saw a game basically get that treatment after not even a year with fuck, what was that game? There was some game on the console that was released. And I can't remember its name, but it was like some like old Nordish thing where I can't remember exactly what it was. I think they didn't buy the license for the Unreal Engine or something like that. And
Oh, yeah.
and the
I
game,
think I heard about that.
yeah, it was made by Epic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, it
Yeah,
couldn't be Epic because they own the Unreal Engine.
or yeah, it was something like that. There was some big deal with the Epic engine or something like that, and
Yeah.
it got taken down, and you can't ever buy it again. And they literally had to go and destroy the discs in stores.
And see, I could like if companies would dedicate themselves to being like, look, if we have to take servers on offline and stuff, we'll issue a patch that lets you keep playing it anyway. If companies actually did that and were dedicated to doing it, at least for the most part, like if we said 95% of games got that treatment where it's like, well, we can't have our online servers anymore, but here's, a small patch that will let you just keep playing it on your, you know, you can install it, it'll work like normal. Then a lot of that piracy would disappear because people wouldn't be as worried about potentially losing something. I mean, there's a chance, but you know, and then you have the another group of pirates that will just pirate it no matter what. In that case, you're not really losing a sale because they would never pay you money anyway. And those are the three primary groups. There's a few others, but it's like only a couple of those groups can cost you money. And there's ways to mitigate it. Because it's really easy if you're pirating to try something to go, yeah, I'm going to buy it eventually. And then just not. So you could legitimately lose sales there.
Yeah, but you were probably never going to get that sale to begin with either.
Well, not necessarily. If the person plays the demo and was like, oh yeah, this is really cool, I want to keep playing, well, now they actually have to pay for it. And if it's something they think is good enough to pay for, then they might pay for it, as opposed to if they pirated the entire thing.
I'm a firm believer of like, if it was interesting enough, you would have paid for it. Like,
well, I'm specifically talking
that's
about the
me.
people who try, like, use
Yeah.
piracy as a demo. Because it's kind of easy to say, yes, I'm going to buy it, but I can't do it right this second, and then forget about it.
Stick to your convictions. Don't do that.
Look, people are lazy. They do stupid, irrational things.
You make us look bad. Okay. We have a twofer here. And this might close it out.
Oh boy.
That's not it. Okay. So, the Discord CEO started teasing NFT integration and Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency payments for Discord. And
I'm mildly confused about why people are mad at this.
This tweet has a reasonable take, at least, I guess. I mean, speak with your wallet, right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know why people are mad they're adding NFTs or cryptocurrency. Like, you don't have to buy it.
I mean, I think it's mainly because right now NFTs are just NFTs and cryptocurrency are just the bane of the internet, right? The reason I'll speak to mine. I can't say this is everybody. Whenever I see NFT integration or anything like that, I'm like, oh great, they're getting greedy. They want to like capitalize on the newest trend. That's basically a low key scam, right? Like,
well, yeah, a lot of NFTs, I would say, border on a scam.
Yeah,
but...
and it comes off as scummy.
Oh,
and
it is. It's just, I don't get why people are specifically mad about it, because you can just not buy it. It's kind of like if an MMO introduces a decent looking outfit, but it costs like $50.
Well, this is the thing here. People are worried that it will change not people. Sorry, speaking for other people. I feel, again, when I see this, is that the actual behavior of the client might change based on this, right? So,
well, yeah, if that's the case, then fuck them.
Because that's what happens whenever you start introducing money into anything, is that behavior starts changing, and they might try to incentivize NFT bullshit through everybody, and it starts getting really fucking annoying.
I understand why they're doing it, though. Discord isn't profitable at the moment.
Yeah,
like they're losing money.
There's not enough furries paying in for Nitro. They keep it afloat.
Yeah. The problem is Nitro honestly isn't needed if you just want it for a chat service. So,
and honestly, the damn Nitro bullet benefits are bullshit anyway.
That's kind of what I was implying, but yeah.
Well, say it plainly. Speaketh plainly, sir.
But yeah, I still need to get on making that
Oh
that
no.
alternative chat server that's encrypted.
I don't know, Whiskey. It says they generated 1 billion, or is this the cryptocurrency person that's generating one? MA. What the fuck is MAUs again?
I'm not sure. What are you reading? Where is it?
This tweet here. Yeah, just this is them like mixing with the various crypto people. Right.
Like, I actually wouldn't have any complaint if it was just, yeah, we'll accept, like, say, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the popular ones for payment for Nitro. But that doesn't seem to be what they're doing. And whatever the hell it is they're doing here is probably a dumb idea. I mean, they'll probably make money from it from dumb people.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see that big of a deal if you're like gonna do like Ethereum and stuff like that. The NFT stuff I can do without. Right. The cryptocurrency, half of me is like, go die in a fire because you're actually legitimizing cryptocurrency, which is causing me not to be able to get a graphics card right now. And the other half's like, whatever. Right?
Well, I mean, if it got legitimized to the point it was an actual currency instead of a commodity, it also wouldn't be as big of a problem for GPUs.
Well,
so the problem is we're kind of in an in-between space.
Well, I don't like it. So,
but yeah, if all it is like, yeah, you can buy Nitro with this stuff, I don't care. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. If they're trying to do something weird to just milk people, then I don't care what it is. It's stupid.
Yeah, that's the only, because that's the thing I think a lot of people also think about with the EA thing. It's not the NFT necessarily, it's the behaviors that people think, or that think about when they think about NFTs, I feel. Like, you think that they're going to like either make a game that's going to be like this shallow fucking shell of a thing that's just going to be there for farming money for the company, or that they're going to warp existing products to have that, because they do it with loot boxes, they do it with everything. And if this becomes the trend, who knows where the limit is, right? If they literally find out that we can use games to have people mine funny money that we profit off of 100% and they lose off of 100%, we're gonna be in a bad place. Because then we're gonna go from loot boxes and cash stores to you literally have to go and pay to play to pay everything. And then,
yeah, and what's dumb is NFTs are kind of designed to be, well, they are a token that's supposed to identify a thing or be a unique identifier. But using it just to identify some random digital asset to be like, oh, hey, you're the only one that owns this, aren't you happy, is kind of stupid since it's defeated by right click. It's like, no, but you're the one with the real one.
and even then, like, even let's say you bought like that picture down there, Nyan Cat, right? Let's say you bought the Nyan Cat thing, and like, I'm the owner of Nyan Cat. Okay, what does that do for you though?
Nothing.
Like, you don't own the copyright. So I can still put it on a t-shirt. I mean, bar the person who actually owns the copyright. Like, you don't stop me from putting it on a t-shirt.
Yeah, you just own that one specific copy of it.
Yeah, I could even literally use that copy to put on my t-shirt. And because I put it on a t-shirt, it's transformative.
Actually, the interesting thing about NFTs, because they can be used for contracts, but you could also, in theory, use NFTs to prove ownership of, say, a software license, which would, in theory, make it possible to show, oh, yeah, no, I actually do own a copy of this movie or this game or whatever. And by virtue of being able to prove I own it, I'm allowed to convert it and do whatever the hell I want with it. Like, you could use them like that. Like, a company, if they sold you a movie, could sell you an NFT, and as long as you hold that NFT and don't sell it to anyone, you could legally say rip your own movie and put it on, another device or something. So there are ways to use them that could be interesting. This is not it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, though. That's a good way to use an NFT that would benefit the people who you're selling it to. They want NFTs the way they're currently going, where you have a bunch of fucking pyramid schemes and a bunch of people at the top like counting money that's generated out of nothing. Like, this is a game's this is I literally said this like a year ago. I'm like, if a corporation could figure a way to get money from you without giving you anything, they would do it. And this is literally where this is going to go.
Pretty much. I think it'll be like this for a while until people kind of get wise to it. And unfortunately, it will probably taint the idea of NFTs and what they're actually useful for.
Yeah.
Which is basically like to be used to identify a thing. And the owner of said thing.
Let me check a thing.
Hey, good segue.
When is the Game Awards? December 9th. Okay.
They still do that?
Yeah. And it is on, oh no, it's on a Thursday. So, will you be here on December 9th?
I will now.
Yeah, because they're doing it live. Yeah, and I'll make sure that to double check and stuff. Because I'm looking at the website now, it says live December 9th. So, I just got the thought, because, yeah, that would be a fun thing. That'd be a fun hate cast to do.
That's fortuitous that they're going to have it on a hate cast day. That will be our day. That is the day that we get recommended to people.
Yeah, or the hate cast goes to the Game Awards.
We need a hate cast Twitter account that we can tweet at the Game Awards.
Already made one.
Good job. I hereby dub you the director of propaganda. Go forth, my son, and reach the people.
Let's see. Oh, I'll do that later.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might not want to show all that on stream.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna go log on to the Twitter account on live, you know.
Well, I guess the plus side is we probably don't have anyone watching us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's most of what I had. I have a few other stories, but they're not really, I don't feel like they're worth going over, aside from like this Trump story, but even then, that's kind of... Yeah, that's about the only thing. And then PAX. There's the Eternals. But it just flopped. And then, you know, Everyone's
So,
like,
what's the headline for this one? Oh, absolute immunity in Electric Avenue copyright.
yeah, it's I believe it's for a song. Yeah, the Electric Avenue that Trump played during a rally. And they're trying to, he's basically trying to say that as a president, he's immune to it.
I mean, the president can technically pardon themselves for anything, but if he didn't pardon himself at the time, I don't think he can claim that.
Yeah, and it's already said here in this article that basically the court's gonna strike against it. And
Now,
that
it would have been hilarious if he knew it was copyrighted at the time and then pardoned himself immediately after.
Yeah. And we have the Eternals bombing.
So what is that exactly?
Oh, the Eternals is this really terrible side story that happened in the comics that didn't get a lot of like coverage. It was like it had.
I'm gonna be honest, it just looks like bad cosplay looking at the picture.
Yeah, like the original Eternals was kind of this story, the side story they made. It wasn't very popular, so it got panned, and they basically resurrected it because they're running out of ideas, right? To resurrect it, they
well, they've also gone the typical 10-year run of a Hollywood trend, which is superheroes, and that's running dry now because people are getting tired of it. So even if the movie itself was decent, it probably wouldn't have done well anyway. You muted?
No, I was just looking off to the side.
Oh.
No, it's just they've been calling for this to be the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like all the critics have been panning on it, except for a couple that have been like, "Oh my god!" But it has brown people in it, though.
I mean, I would have been fine if it just ended at the first Avengers.
Yeah, just it was it performed less than stellar is basically what I want to say. Let's see what its Rotten Tomato scores is.
Oh boy. It's always fun to see what real people think versus their reviewers.
It is sitting at a 47 with a audience score of 80, which I doubt is real.
I don't see how it could be real if the movie itself flopped.
Yeah.
So I guess Rotten Tomatoes got sick and tired of showing accurate counts of things.
Oh, they've been like that for a while, yeah. Yeah, they've been fucking with stats for a while now. They did it with
Isn't
Marvel.
Rotten Tomatoes owned by one of the big theater chains or something? I'm pretty sure I read something about that.
Let's see. Fandango, yeah. The one people who sell tickets.
Yeah. So for them, every movie needs to be great so they can sell tickets.
Yeah, basically.
You know, no conflict of interest here, boys and girls.
Grab this here and put this over here and cut this out. Because that's all my articles. Legitimately this time.
Well, I mean, we did the last two pretty quick there, so.
Yeah. I feel like in the next coming weeks, news is probably going to be a little bit more bumping. It wasn't necessarily quiet these last 2 weeks, but stuff's picking up now, and we're getting towards the holiday season, so you're gonna see things get a little more intense before they cool back down. And a reminder that we're not even through the first year of Joe Biden's presidency yet.
And it feels like it's been an 8-year term.
Fuck, man. It feels like Joe Biden's always been president and not in a good way.
I feel it's important to say here at the HateCast we love and support Brandon.
Yeah. You know. I'm surprised YouTube hasn't, like, put a COVID thing under us or anything.
This time we behaved and mostly talked about games.
Yeah. Bitched about Blizzard.
If it makes you feel any better, I was able to show a couple of people our segment on the ninja attack, and they thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think we're gonna win a war with China with ninjas. Like, you got one ninja that, like, corners 26 Marines in one base. We're fucked. They released 30 of them on us. We're done.
The follow-up to that, where it turns out they did shoot at him and none of the bullets hit, just kind of makes it.
Yeah, he's fucking ninja, man. What can you do? He flipped through the air with superhuman speed. He, like, flew over my fucking head and then cut my shin with his crazy ass ninja sword.
Like, I kind of wish I could have been a fly on the wall to watch that incident go down, because...
Oh, the mad trick, it wasn't you couldn't have been a fly on the wall unless you were watching a bunch of Marines cower like bitches against one ninja. Because it happened mostly outside.
You get the point.
Well, I think they got the point, but yeah.
Like, I really wish I could have seen exactly how that went down.
Yeah. They should make
astonishing.
If I was a Hollywood producer, I would buy the rights for those motherfuckers ASAP.
Be like during questioning, you have a guy knocking on the door, and the officer opens it. He's like, "Who are you? Are you his lawyer?" "No, I'm the guy who wants the rights to the movie."
"No, I'm his agent. Stand back." Scorsese has so many fucking stacks of money in his suitcase for you right now. We gotta get out of this bitch and get you into filming right now. We got a girl with a fucking driving a van where the other girls are gonna do makeup. I want to hear this about this.
This whole thing has to be shot before your trial date.
Yeah. It's gonna be an underground. It's gonna look like an underground film. I think it'll work for us. So insane of a story.
I can't believe it's a real thing.
The only way it could have been worse is if it's like, oh, I shot at him. He just like sliced the bullet away with his sword. It'd be like, what world do I live in?
It's like, oh no, the anime, it's coming to life.
Anime is real. Anime is real.
It's a reverse isekai.
Yeah, instead of us being truck-cooned, all the anime characters are being truck-cooned.
Oh dear.
That's why the price of housing is going up. Because they're all just grinding monsters all the time. If you think Mexicans would take all the low-paying jobs, it's what's raising the price of fucking housing and everything.
Just wait till you see adventurers.
Yeah, exactly. They can kill
They'll deliver shit down the street for you for a couple of pennies.
Fuck, they'll kill a raccoon and four gold coins will pop out of its ass. You think Joe Biden's platinum coin is gonna be a big fucking inflation starter? Wait till like all the Avengers come in with their gold coins.
We'll be back on the gold standard in no time.
Yeah. You'll be able to just like fucking kill animals to build your graphics card because all the precious metals, the gold, the copper, the silver will all come flying out. There will no longer be a chip shortage.
You know what there will be a shortage of, though?
What's that?
Wild animals.
No, they just respawn. Everyone knows that when you kill all the animals in the area, the server just respawns them all at once.
That depends on what you're going off of. I think the original Ultima Online had an ecosystem simulation, and players literally started making monsters and animals go extinct.
Oh, we aren't going off of Ultima. They also put players' heads on pikes outside of their houses. I don't think Ultima's
a pretty nice feature to have in an MMO.
Yeah, you can break into people's houses and steal their shit too.
I think we need to ask Yoshi P to add the ability if you manage to take someone's head in combat and PvP, you can put it on a pike in front of your house.
I'm pretty sure he would laugh at that because he has played Ultima, so. Well, Ultima was so famous because the actual like a GM popped in and forgot to make himself invulnerable, and even with his insane stats, the player still got into the town and killed him.
Yeah, players will find a way if it's not literally invulnerable.
Yeah, like Ultima was one of those games that taught developers the meaning of like you should fear your player base.
Yeah, because they didn't realize people would intentionally screw things over. It's like, we have no more boars, and so the wolves are starving.
Guess we kind of time to kill the wolves too.
Yeah, that's one of those systems where an entire ecosystem sounds like a good idea on paper, but you vastly underestimate how quickly they'll die because people started grinding and they didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I think that was like one of the first real MMOs, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it's one of the first like what we would know of as MMOs. You still had MUDs before that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of like graphically how we know it now. I think that one was the first, wasn't it?
I'm not sure if it was the first.
I know it was only 2D graphics. So I know at the very least it predates WoW and 11. So, I mean, you almost have to forgive them for some stuff like that because what they were doing probably hadn't been done before. It'd be like inventing the first car and not realizing people might need a driver's license, otherwise you get really stupid people driving that'll just murder people.
Island of Kesmai was the first
that's
MMO.
the first one.
First commercial MMO. The fuck is Island of Kesmai? I bet this bitch is still up too.
Probably runs on like a really shitty laptop in someone's basement.
Yeah, it's a MUD.
Okay. Well, what was the first graphical one?
It is. Like it's a MUD, but it's still graphically.
Okay.
Yeah, because MUDs
Yeah,
are just...
most of the MUDs I'm aware of are text-based, so I was just assuming.
Yeah, this actually had like a proper interface and everything. Wow, the art for it was so weird and cool.
What year did that come out?
1985.
Okay. Ultima was 97.
Yeah.
Whoops.
They still have it online too.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the wiki and I clicked the first thing. I'm like, wait a second. This has a game guide and like media and oh shit, you can still play it. You can even play it for free. I mean, like I said, it's probably like all their servers just running on one computer in the back room.
Yeah, outlawed multi-boxing. Wow. 97. It makes me want to go play fucking 11, honestly. Dark Age of Camelot.
I mean, you're not going to become a Ultima Online streamer.
Fuck no.
Do like Preach, but Ultima drama.
Oh my god, no. God, this game, Camelot, Dark Age of Camelot.
Holy shit, they're still updating the game.
Yeah. Same with Dark Age of Camelot, I think.
That's genuinely impressive. Like, this game is crap. 24 years old and it's still receiving updates.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
Like, I think this game was out before I had anything more than dial-up.
Man, these games were up before, like, I even played games, really. Like, I was just barely playing Nintendo games and getting my ass handed to me as fucking Scrooge McDuck in DuckTales. Which was a bitch of a game, by the way.
I'm finding this incredibly fascinating that this still exists. I might have to play it for a little bit.
Oh, did you see they're suing James O'Keefe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not a good idea. They've won every lawsuit they've been in so far.
Yeah, they think the FBI raided him too.
Yeah, he posted a video about it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and I imagine it's just because people are pissed off he's revealing their deepest, darkest secrets. Are we still online?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, we are. Sorry.
You want to cut the stream now?
Yeah, that'll be it for now.